Today, we're going to tackle a question that is absolutely massive for any business running SAP. How do you get your main planning system to talk perfectly with your warehouse? We're talking about connecting your ERP to your extended warehouse management, or EWM, system. You know, if you get this wrong, your whole supply chain can just grind to a halt. But if you get it right, oh, everything just flows. So let's jump right in.
Okay, think of it like this. Your ERP system, that's the company's brain. It does all the big picture stuff, planning, buying, selling. But your warehouse, the EWM system, that's the hands. It's the part that's actually moving, storing, and shipping all the stuff. Now, if the brain and the hands aren't speaking the same language in perfect sync, well, nothing's going to work right. That's really the problem we're solving here.
Now, you might be hoping for one single, easy answer to this, but spoiler alert, there isn't one. The right way to sync up all your master data, your essential info and materials, customers, all that, it is completely 100% determined by the specific SAP setup you are running.
And that leads us right to the main idea for today. Your system dictates your method. It's not a one-size-fits-all deal. There are actually 3 very different paths you can take. We're going to walk through each one so you can figure out exactly which one is right for your business.
So here they are, the big 3, side by side. Now look at the first 2, SCM-based and S4HANA decentralized. In both of these, the warehouse system is separate from the main ERP. A company might do this for, huge operations or to keep their core system really clean. And notice the key word for both. Data has to be transferred. But then, look at that third option, S4HANA Embedded. This is where the warehouse actually lives inside the ERP. And that changes the whole game. Data isn't transferred, it's just shared. Let's break down what that really means, starting with the classic way of doing things.
All right, let's start with path number 1, the classic method. If your company is running on a slightly older SCM-based EWM system, we're talking releases up to 9.5, then this is your world. The tool for this job is called the Core Interface, or as everyone calls it, CIF. Think of CIF as the trusty old workhorse for this kind of job. It's been around for a long time, and it was built specifically to act as a bridge between the ERP and a supply chain management, or SCM, system. It's a proven, really solid technology for getting that critical data where it needs to be. So, how does it actually work? Well, it's a pretty clean 4-step process. First, you have to generate what's called an integration model. This is basically the blueprint for what data you're going to send. Step 2, you tell the system exactly what you want to move, which materials, for which plants, that sort of thing. Then, you execute and save that model. And finally, you activate it. That activation is the go button that shoots the data over to EWM. And here's the best part about CFI. Once you've activated that model, you're pretty much done. From that moment on, anytime a change is made to master data in the ERP system, that change gets pushed to EWM automatically, in real time. It's truly a set-it-and-forget-it kind of solution for keeping everything in sync.
But of course, technology moves on, and so do the methods. So what if you're on a more modern system? Well, that brings us to our second path, which is designed for S4HANA decentralized systems. And here, we're going to use a totally different technology called ALE/IDOC.
And this is a really important point. You absolutely cannot use the old CIF method with a modern S4HANA decentralized EWM. The whole architecture underneath is different, and CIF, well, it's just not compatible. It won't work, so we need a new tool for this job. And that new tool is ALE, which stands for Application Link Enabling. Basically, it's a system that uses these things called IDOCs, or intermediate documents. The easiest way to think of an IDOC is like a standardized shipping container for your data. You pack all your master data into this container in one system, ship it over, and the other system knows exactly how to open it and use what's inside. And this framework covers the whole shebang. You can send all the critical data objects you need, materials, customers, vendors, batches, you name it. This makes sure your separate warehouse system has all the up-to-date information it needs to run properly. So, what's the real difference in how they feel to use? Well, with CIF, after you activate it, it's all automatic. But with ALE, IDOC, it's a bit more hands-on. The very first time you send the data, it's a manual transaction. You have to push it. And the updates aren't happening in real time. Instead, the system makes a little note of every change, and then you have to schedule a job to come along, collect all those notes, and send the updates over in a batch. Okay, so we've looked at a classic method and a modern one, and they're both about moving data between 2 separate systems. But what if the systems weren't separate to begin with?
That brings us to our third and final path, the embedded advantage, where the whole idea of transferring data just goes away.
Right? I mean, what if you could just get rid of all the integration models and the IDOCs and the scheduled jobs? What if the brain and the hands were just part of the same body? That is the whole idea behind S4HANA Embedded EWM. This quote from the source material just says it all perfectly. The magic word here is shared, because your ERP and your EWM are living inside one single S4HANA system. There are no walls between them. There's no transfer needed because the data is already there for both to use. Honestly, it's just such an elegant solution. You have one material master, one customer record, one vendor record for the whole system. And to make that data work for the warehouse, you just add an EWM view. Think of it like a new tab of information directly onto that single existing record. No copies, no syncing, no delays. It just works. So we've walked through the three distinct paths for handling master data between your ERP and your EWM. Let's just wrap this all up in a final summary to make it super clear. Think of this as your cheat sheet. If you're on an older SM-based system, you're using CIF, and the big win is those automatic real-time updates. If you're on a decentralized S4HANA system, you're using ALE/IDOC, and you've got to manage that initial load and then schedule your updates. And finally, if you've got embedded S4HANA EWM, well, you don't have a transfer method at all. Your data is just shared, which is by far the most seamless way to do it. And that really leaves us with one final thought. As we've seen, your system landscape literally defines how you have to handle your data. The choice between a decentralized or an embedded system isn't just some techie detail. It fundamentally changes your entire data strategy. So the question to ask yourself is, are you on the right path, not just for today, but for where your business is going tomorrow? Hey everyone!